Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is something that's been on this channel and everyone seems to really love this thing. The amount of positive comments I've had on like the shorts I've posted about it, people are like, that's one of the coolest looking things I've ever seen. Even though people are like, oh, maybe I didn't think I'd like that, but now I've seen it, it's really cool. If you don't know what this is, you may have seen it from the title, but this is the Saiga 12 SBS from Tokyo Marui with an ITP Groza 12 kit on it. ITP Groza 12 kit on it. That's what I was going to say. But basically what it does is it's removed all of the like stock, the front handrail, etc. And it's turned this thing into a bullpup shotgun. Now, I am obsessed with it, as you can see. Like, it is pretty cool looking. I went with this green version. It's expensive. Like, this kit alone was about $550. So it's basically the same cost as the actual shotgun itself. So you're basically spending about $1,100 to do this. So today we are going to do something which is turn this base Groza 12 into what I think is going to be something pretty cool and usable. Like, most people are quite aware that this has got a very funny reload system. In fact, I'll get one of the actual magazines out right now so you can see. But basically, you cannot put the magazine in here. Like, you can't do it, so it's a little bit annoying, but actually I quite like it. I'm getting used to it. But you basically push this button, you can release that, and then you can seat the magazine in there, and then you have to snap back this actual grip, and then you're good to go. There's some issues with this, and this is what I'm going to kind of do in this video, is I think I've solved at least one of the problems that I'm going to find difficult in terms of the reload. And then I'm also going to just put on attachments. So attachments I'm going for today are, I'm going to put this on, which is an Defentac 3, I think it's called, the DF-9031. But this is a laser, as you can see there, and it's a flashlight. And because this is so short, I had to find a way to actually like mount something on there. It does have rail space, but it's pretty odd, the rail space. And so I decided to go for this, and I'll kind of show you why and where I'm going to mount it. I've gone with a little charging handle, little like 3D print that's going to go on there. And it's basically going to turn this from your kind of original charging handle into something that looks a bit more modern and cool. I've got this, which is a little hand stop, which is the hack that I'm going to show you very shortly. And then I also have a suppressor that's going to go on there with a tracer unit. And finally, a red dot sight that I think is going to match the style of this pretty well. But I'm going to do these installs, and we're going to kind of do the before and after. So this is what this thing looks like before. Very cool looking. Normally it will have that flash hider on the end here, but I took that off because we don't need it. You can see the barrel is literally right there on the end. But we're going to go about kind of changing this thing up. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about, and I'll show you here, look, we've got the little desk overlay so you guys can see this in a bit more detail. But the first thing I'm going to do is actually the hack. Now, the issue that I've got, which I don't think many of the actual people who have bought this have, is that when I release this, my actual handle isn't locking in place. And I think it could be that I just don't have the pin like fully out there, which is kind of annoying. And I was going to take it apart and like fix that. However, what I've realized is that I might not actually want to do that. Yes, it's kind of annoying because it doesn't fully lock out, but I actually think I can do reloads faster with this thing if I keep it this way, and I'll explain why. So right now, obviously, if I lock this out, I'm like pushing it this way, and then I'm having to like try and get to this magazine, release it, put another magazine in, and then slap it. What I thought was, I was thinking, and I was like, oh, if I can put a hook here, like right here, I can basically release this, hook it, and then I can actually almost like grip it side on in like the perfect, in my opinion, we'll see, in the perfect location to do the reload. And I printed quite a few of these different hand stops, trying to find something that was like, you know, obviously this isn't built for what I'm going to use it for, but trying to find something that was going to fit perfectly and actually work. So I printed this one, and I've actually just noticed we've had a little bit of a crack there. in the actual M-LOK piece where I kind of like installed it and just tested it before. So I may have to reprint this, not a big deal. But that's just something that I need to think about when I'm doing this. I don't think that's going to be an issue because it's not on the outer side. But let's just think about that when we put it in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically mount it right here. And so I'm going to show you why I think when I've installed this, because I have installed it previously. As always, guys, if you're watching this live or you are watching this in a replay and you have any questions, put them down below, whether it's questions about the Groza or if it's questions about what I'm doing. I'll try and put links down below. This was from Maker's World. You can kind of go on there and you can find this, but if you're looking for it, let me know. But I can't imagine there's a huge amount of people out there who have a Groza 12 that are going to look to do the exact same thing. So if you are interested, do let me know and I'll try and put the link down below. But I can't imagine many people are going to want that. So I'm going to mount this M-LOK because we have M-LOK slots on the side here. Let me know as well about this like screen setup, because I kind of think this is cool because I can talk to you. Plus you guys can kind of see, up this way, where that screen is, which I think is quite good because you may want to see a bit more of like an up close version. It means I can keep the kind of like discussion format of these videos while still, you know, actually giving you some value on like how I'm doing stuff. So obviously M-LOK can be a bit finicky. I'm pretty good at it generally, but you definitely can get some like M-LOK slots or rails and pieces to go on there that just don't work particularly well. So I'm going to do this here. I'm just going to get these set, and basically that's what it's going to look like right there. So I'm just going to now insert this into this front M-LOK slot because that's where my finger is going to sit. And then we just have to do the rotation. Okay, so that's going to sit in there nicely. And then we'll do the rotation. So I basically just want to rotate this half a way. And then we can kind of pull up against that one. This one's not seated fully. That one is still not seated fully. And this kind of fits perfectly, which is great. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to tighten this back one first while pulling up against it. I don't want to cut it too much. There we go. And then this guy is now out of position. So we'll rotate that guy there. And we'll pull this one. And that hopefully, if I just keep tightening each one slightly, is going to put this in place. And I did test this. Actually, if you watch a short that I put up on like getting used to the reloads on the Groza, I think I'm getting quicker at it. And it's almost, again, it's muscle memory. And there is that extra step with this one of like, right, I need to actually move the grip out of the way. But when I've actually got a sling on it, especially, it does feel quite natural. So that's there installed, you can see there. And it doesn't protrude too much. Like, this is what I quite like, is when I've got it here, like, yes, it's there if I'm using the shotgun, but it's not like that's getting in the way of anything. It's not too far out. Like, you can see it there. And so what my idea is, and like, we'll see if this works out, because obviously I'm going to be putting a lot of pressure on here. But my idea is I'm going to release the button, and then I'm going to put my finger up here. I'm going to rotate this way, reload that mag. I don't know why this is dropping BBs right now. It really shouldn't be doing that, but we'll see. Okay, and then that is literally a back in, charge it, boom, 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 boom. Need to reload it, bang, 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 bang. It's almost dropping BBs like an AEG right now, this thing. Might just be the mag. I'll just dump these BBs. I don't know why I've got these in here. There we go. So put that in, load it, bang, boom, 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 boom. And guys, don't kind of have a go at me about trigger safety in this one. There are no BBs in it. I kind of am trying to demonstrate this because I have had it before where they're like, oh, trigger, you know, make sure you're keeping your trigger discipline. You shouldn't be putting your finger on the trigger unless you're trying to use it. Yes, but this is an airsoft gun, and I'm trying to demonstrate firing and then moving my finger from trigger to this position to reload. One thing is, like, this could get pretty tiring. Like, the force on this finger, if I'm playing quite intensely, is going to be a constant bang, 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 bang. And what I can do as well is I can push on the side of this mag, and that almost allows me to put it back in place. So I could just slam it kind of like that and get it in place. But actually having this here works pretty well. And I don't think actually, like, I tried putting the drum mag on it, and I can show you guys that in a minute. And it is cool and it looks amazing, but it is so annoying. Like, trying to get your hand around it. And again, I'll go get it. In fact, I'll go get it now so you can see that quickly. Mags, and then this has a, I think it's a tap Saiga 12 adapter on it, this one. And so the great thing about this is it's going to give me like 400 rounds in here as opposed to 45. So like 10 mags worth. And it's going to give me a ton of gas. And it is going to shake a little bit when it's full, but I can kind of wind it with this guy. And it means that, yes, those reloads are annoying, but it actually means that I don't have to do the reloads. Like, you can kind of realize, like, oh, wait, am I actually going to have to remove this? Not really. Like, I can just keep this and not run any mags, which could be really cool, especially as it's in that, like, hidden position. But I'll show you here, like, if I'm doing this, putting this here, inserting this, getting it in is a, oh, no, what I've just realized. Okay, so I'm going to have to quickly remove this just so then we can show you guys what this looks like, because it won't actually fit with the mag plate in. So again, that's another thing I don't like, is like this mag plate looks really cool. Like, I actually really like how the mag plate looks in this replica. So I'd have to basically get rid of this mag plate, which I don't think is the biggest deal because it's not really part of the gun. It does help with the reloads on that. But if I'm here, obviously I can do my reload. I can do this after the safe zone. You know, I just basically put it in and it fits. Like, it fits pretty well. And it does make it look cool. Like, it's a stubby little gun, and this little chonky thing underneath it does make it look cool. Like, I don't know, you may disagree, but I think it does make it look awesome. I posted a short on this and people seem to love it. However, you can probably see here, like, my wrist trying to get around this is near impossible. It's almost like I have to, like, arch out and wing my arm to even get it round. I could try and go under a bit, but this is like just going to weight on your actual wrist constantly, and it's just not going to be very comfortable. So if it was further back, I think you'd be fine. But actually, like, playing like this with it is maybe neat. I mean, you could maybe rest your wrist on the top, like here. But you can see here in the, like, zoomed in camera, it's a very awkward angle, like, on my actual wrist. So I think I'm not going to use it particularly like that. The great thing as well is what works very well on this is the HPA adapters. Like, if you're going to run it with an HPA adapter and little EPM1 mags, it's perfect because the line is coming out here. It's not going across your actual, like, grip at all. Like, it's literally running from the line straight here, which is where it would be, down into, like, wherever my tank is, and that works perfectly. However, I want to play with this indoors, and the place I play indoors don't allow HPA, which I really like. So that's not going to be an option for this. So I want to get used to those reloads, and it is going to feel cool. Like, as soon as I get it down and it's not annoying, and I'm sure I'm going to mess some up, and I will have gameplay on that very soon, but I do think it's going to be cool. So I'm going to put this guy back on quickly so we don't lose the screws for it. And that's basically my first little hack I should say, like, my first little customization that I think is going to work well for this. And again, it's kind of come out of the fact that my, like, pistol lock isn't working right now. And I think I can take it apart and I can fix that. But, like, I kind of was like, oh, actually, I quite like that it's not locking because it allows me more free action to do what I'm doing there. Like, if it was locking in place, and then it's almost like the good thing with it is it's going to require less force to bring that handle back in after the reload, because now it's basically like free floating. I can just slam it in. So we'll see. It's more of a gameplay thing than an actual piece. But if I'm going bam, bam, and then obviously I don't have the mag here, but I'm just going to bam, bam, and then we're good to go. All right, so that is the first one. Next, what we'll do is we'll put this little charging handle on. Again, this is a 3D print. You can find these quite a few places, but if you search 3D print Saiga 12 charging handle, you should be able to find it. It's basically got a little slot that goes through here. That's just going to slide on, and then you just need to have a grub screw. So you just have a grub screw that you can tighten on it. Again, I've like tested this and it worked well. I say as it doesn't slide on, but that's basically just going to slide on there like that. I know this is an awkward angle to get this on. So I'm going to do this guy. Like it's just one of those like weird positionings on this where I don't want to like strip the screw. That was close to me doing that, but so now that should be a pretty great position. So that's now sitting there. It doesn't look fully straight, so I might try and play around with that after the video. Yeah, it is straight. Okay. So yeah, so now I don't know. You can tell me if you think that looks cooler or not, but it's basically the same length coming out of it. It's just a kind of like a rounder little like grip now, which I just think is just going to be better with this like modern style design. Okay, so that's that bit. Next, we're going to go with this this flashlight laser combo. Now, because I'm playing with this indoors, and the place I play indoors is like I'm playing indoors and it's dark, so I want kind of the ability to have a flashlight, light things up, actually make it work, and like have that added to my gameplay because it is a big advantage. So I'm just gonna stick this in here. I'm gonna rotate this half a slot. And these lights are good. Like normally I like having a switch on my lights, like it's, you know, what I normally have, but actually there's such little space for where your supporting hand's gonna be on this that you really don't have space for a switch. Or I mean, I could mount it maybe up here on the side or an offset. You can have it like on the bottom right here. Like you can see there where that rail is. What I am going to play around with as well with this like red dot is I may rotate this, because you can basically do this in quite a different ways. I can take this top section here and then I can like switch it. I could have it at a lower position and remove these two kind of pieces. I can take this top rail off. Obviously in this current format, that's the highest it's going to sit because I've kind of got this extra piece on top and then this, and this is how the kit is shipped. So I'm going to try it with that, but we may look at it after we've installed the red dot, and I may want to sit it a bit lower. You know, we'll figure that out, but I do love the look of it like this. So this is going to be here what this flashlight is like, and because it's at the front here, I don't need an additional switch. My thumb, hopefully, will just sit in place here. So you can see here, I don't really want to grab the suppressor because I think that might make it easier to play with. However, realism-wise, like that suppressor in real life would get very, very hot, and so you would not be grabbing onto it. And so what I kind of want to do is almost that P90 grip where I've got this here and then I'm just kind of like hooking around the front. I think if you've got the Saiga 12K version, it's got like a little rail adapter for the barrel, and that will drop. Like you can put a little front foregrip on it. With the SBS, you don't have that option. However, mine can go full auto and mine is shorter. So I'm going to basically try and do that there, which means my thumb can switch straight onto here. I can go laser, I can go light, and then, you know, I don't want to shine it at the cameras here, but you can see it there. So I've got light, I've got laser, and I can kind of like use that hopefully fairly easily as I'm using this thing. It's so short that I think that's going to work well. So that is going to be that. Next, what I'm going to do is put this suppressor on. Now, this suppressor is another one from Basterd Labs. And so I have basically printed this in a green, and it doesn't really match fully. Like the green on it isn't exact at all to this, but I do actually just quite like the difference of it. So I printed the two base pieces. This one fits the original Saiga 12 SBS barrel, which is what I've got in here. If I'd done an aftermarket barrel, he has different versions of the actual thread. And then this is a little like insert flash end there. And the great thing is he had a version which worked for the 5KU tracer unit. And I was messaging with him on the Discord and I said, hey, I've got the Acetech Quark M, and do you have a model which fits that? And he said, no, I don't, but can you send me the dimensions? And so now if you buy this, he has a version in terms of the diameter of it that will fit the Quark M. He's got two lengths of it, a longer one, a shorter one. This is the shorter one just because I was like, I'm going to keep this as short as possible. But now this fits the Quark M in it, and you can buy this as a separate like unit. This is built for shotguns. And before, or like the version I had is like an EMG kind of like metal casing, which is great, but it clamps onto the barrel and it doesn't have threading that works. And now this threading is going to fit on there perfectly. And so I can just literally take this guy out. I can turn him on. I can stick him straight in here. It literally is like the most kind of fine fit ever. Like you could not have gone any thinner on that, but it fits that perfectly. I can screw this guy on. And then I think this makes this look pretty cool. Now, you may not want to do this because you may not need to have like a tracer in your actual replica, but because I'm going to be using this as an indoor primary, then for me, like the tracer is very necessary. And I love seeing like the tri-shot from this just going out from it in like a green color is just so cool. So that is the look of it now. With that in place, I'll show you it with the magazine in. See how fast I'm getting with this magazine change. That is basically what it's now looking like. And so the only thing left is to put this red dot on. And we're going to see what this is like because I haven't tested this yet because this arrived yesterday, like last night. But this I went for and I was looking around and I'm like, hey, what like actual red dot do I want to put on here? Because I think there's so many different ones, and I was looking at like a couple of the SIG versions, which I really like on other replicas I have. But I was like, I kind of want to keep this not, Western sight on here when it's kind of this like, Eastern Russia kind of style replica. So I went with this, which I think is, again, it's a US company, Williams Gun Sight. However, because it's a bit different, and I quite liked this almost like skeletonized look. And we'll see what this thing looks like. But it should be pretty small. So I've got the instruction manual here. It's a little bit of foam, a cleaning kit. I have Allen keys, and then the actual sight itself. And so it's obviously got this shine on it, which I don't love, to be honest. Like, I don't think that's great. But it is from side on, and I think quite an aggressive looking, like front-leaning sight, if you think that there. And I'm hoping that this looks pretty cool on the actual replica. So we will try it out. And I'm thinking maybe I keep it as far forward as possible. I don't know if you can give me your opinions in the... I quite like it in the middle. I mean, I think the further forward I have it is probably going to be the better for this shotgun style build. Yeah, let's go with it further forward and we'll see how we like it. Let's use one of their Allen keys here. Is this the right size? Nope, that's smaller. Okay, so they have some smaller screws here, which it looks like almost attach it onto this Picatinny mount. So I'll screw these in because we don't want that coming off there. So I presume you can run this maybe on an RMR plate or something like that as well. It's small, so I mean, you could probably run this on a pistol. It would be big on a pistol, but it's kind of like acro size, I would say, in terms of like when I'm looking at it. I probably thought it was going to be slightly bigger than this. I'm a little bit worried this is going to ruin the look of the replica. Okay, we'll just tighten that up. Tighten this one up. And then we'll put this piece. Okay, there's two more on this side. Probably should just take this off the replica, shouldn't I? That'd make it a lot easier. The awkward screws. So I'll have to zero this, but to be honest, obviously it's a shotgun, so I can't remember what the actual sight on this looked like. The actual red dot. So let's go with that further forward. Okay, that's cool. We'll tighten this with the other version. Okay, this is just a bigger one of these star screws, like Torx screw. Okay. And this might be a little high because now the depth of this thing, that's a pretty like large kind of spread there. I mean, it's not going to be, it is pretty big, isn't it? Like that kind of like gap up there. I mean, the thing though is you don't have a stop here. So my head is going to be sat here and I like a riser on mine. So let's test this out. Okay, so that, it's actually quite a small little reticle. I was expecting the reticle to be bigger, but that height is actually perfect for me, I think. Like, I'll try and show you without pointing at myself in the face what the reticle looks like. But it's a smaller window, but it doesn't seem to matter as much. It's for some reason blurring as well. It's not going to want to... Oh, there you go. So it's, yeah, it's hard to see on that one. See if I can show it to you on here. I hate doing this. You can see that. So it's like a little circle, probably like a 8 or 10 MOA circle. No, bigger than that. I don't know, maybe like a 30 MOA circle. But it is kind of cool how I can see straight through the middle of it. And it's, sorry, it's circle with a little dot in the middle. So it's probably like a 2 MOA dot. It's a very small little dot inside of a circle there. There you go, right there. So like the option I could do is I could flip this and then basically have a larger rail on here. So maybe let's try doing that just to kind of see what it's going to look like in that way. Because that, I think, could look cooler. But I do, again, I like this kind of style or size of it. So let's undo this guy. No. Undo this guy quickly. Sorry, wrong side. I shouldn't have put this on tight when I did it, just because I was testing it, shouldn't I? The actual like depth of these screws is not great, so I keep dropping it out. Okay, so this goes here. That's going to come off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this guy. So I'm going to need probably a slightly bigger one of these. Nope, that should work. Am I removing that one? Yeah, I'm removing that one. I'm trying to think like which screws. Am I removing the bottom ones or the top ones to get this thing out? Okay, so that's one. I also do need to go back and thread lock everything on this shotgun because it does have a lot of recoil for an airsoft gun, not for a real steel, obviously. And so I do want to make sure that these screws don't like work themselves loose. Now I could remove this, I think. Yeah, I could remove this actual top piece, but I might just keep it there. Because what I could end up doing is like offsetting. Okay, so that obviously doesn't fit that way. I was like, which way is it going to go? I could like offset and then put something as an attachment coming off that bottom. So I could even like basically take a light with a 45-degree offset, put it there, and then just put a switch down here. Maybe I do that later. We'll see. But this actually might be even higher than what it was like with that other piece. These screws are a lot easier to put in. Than the other ones on the red dot. Yeah, I do quite like, I mean, I kind of like how that gap's filled with the rail underneath, but it is going to sit higher, I think, than it was originally. But it is kind of a good handle. I mean, I think if you've got a red dot on there, and I could put this even further forward. Oh, this is going to be a hard one to work out. So I need you guys to probably give me some feedback in the chat or in the comments. Because if I have it there, I mean, it's very cool. I don't really want it that far back. So I think it's either like a middle option or it's a right to the front. And everything in between. I don't know. Let's actually probably use it in the way of like, what's it going to work better here or here? I mean, the further forward, the better, I think, because it's just giving me... If I've got Face Pro on, I do think the height of this is better, even though it might look ridiculous. I might go further back, you know. I kind of think that does look kind of cool. Let's go with that. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I think this is going to look cool. You probably are shouting at me at this on the screen right now, like, no, what are you doing? Move it. But you know what? It's a red dot, so you can always move it. I could just unscrew it and move it. But maybe we'll have a vote on this. If you want to put in the comments below, front, back, or middle, and then I'll see what the general consensus is. Because with this, again, it's like, you know, it is a very cool function, hopefully, or like usable. But I think the main selling point of this thing is going to be its look, you know. Okay, so I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. Like the function of that in terms of like site acquisition is like the eye relief on it is really good. Now I can pretty much pick that up anywhere. I just bring it up and I can see. I'm really excited to try this thing out. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be that slow at reloading this thing. Like normally on the regular Saiga, it is like a, right, I just need to remove, dump, take a mag, put it back in. With this, it obviously is like a remove, put it back, dump, put it back in, and then slam. But you're definitely not going to drop a mag out accidentally. That's one thing to say. All right, guys, so this is, let's get rid of the desk overlay. Let's give you a quick close-up actually on the desk so you can see. Da-da-da. And then I'll give you, this is what it looks like, guys. And I'm pretty happy with it. It definitely has that P90 shotgun kind of style. The only thing I'm not sure about is the height of this. I do think this looks very cool. It's obviously going to get in the way slightly and block my flashlight, but that's going to happen with a big suppressor on here. And if you've got a shotgun that fires 3 rounds at a time, you need a big suppressor. Like it's got to be thick. So that's going to happen. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will be back very soon with another video. I have another Saiga build, which is my HPA lightweight Saiga 12K build, which I'm about to do. So get excited for that. But let me know your thoughts on this, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Goodbye.